Hey guys, I hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome me back. I've been away on summer vacation, just soaking in the rays, enjoying my time. I hope you have enjoyed the end of your summer as well. But I've come to return to some rather incendiary news, and that has to do with John Riccitiello and Unity. He is the CEO and he is single-handedly trying to torch Unity. Let's keep with this flame theme, I'm liking it. But first, I just want to stop and thank you guys for helping me get to 4,000 subscribers on the channel. That was quite a delight and surprise to come back to. Seeing the number change is really neat, and it's showing just the growth of the community here. If you're new here, welcome. I cover indie games on my channel, so I feel like this is a very fitting topic to be talking about today, as this impacts a lot of indie developers. So there's a lot of bad we're going to talk about today, but I think there's going to be some good that is going to come from all of this. So let's get into it. This has been the news of the gaming industry all week, so I'll give a quick recap in case you don't know. John Riccitiello is the CEO of Unity, and he used to be the CEO of EA. That should give you some insight of where this is headed. Unity is basically crumbling. It's imploding, and people are leaving it. Why? Because John here, in his lovely mugshot-looking picture, this... Are you serious? Oh no. Guys, it's Unity. They found me out. Hello? John? How do you know my location? Boy, that was strange timing. As I was saying, this man looks like a criminal mugshot right here. Looks like this guy would take your money if he could. And in fact, that is what he's trying to do with Unity, is nickel and dime and squeeze just as much out of that rotting lemon, apparently, as he can. So there was a new install fee presented to developers, so every time their game would be installed by someone playing it, they would be charged 20 cents. And I'm sure you can figure out how that could be really abused and potentially bankrupt people making small indie games. If you pass 200,000 downloads and $200,000 in revenue, no one was really expecting this news, except for John himself, who apparently sold his shares, or a decent amount of them, just before. This whole thing has dirt all over it. But I'd rather not talk about much more about this man. I should get him off the screen. I don't want to see his face anymore. Giving me the creeps. So there's some important things to talk about as far as what's going on with indie developers in response to this. People I know making games in Unity, and also an announcement that I will be making that I honestly was not planning on making just yet. So what's happening in the indie world? This Twitter page was actually made in response. Game studios disappointed by Unity. And here we have this now notorious picture of developers. These are statements that have come out from Unity developers that are just now abandoning the platform, or they're porting their game, they're moving to Unreal, they're moving to Godot. That one is fairly potent. I'm sure you can see the kind of, I'm sure you can understand by some of these, what these developers are feeling. They're feeling betrayed, and it's causing a mass exodus of well-known people. I mean, here's Kenny, even asset maker, tutorial maker, or Polymars. Pin them because we're going to be talking about Polymars in a second. This is absolutely bonkers. We even have Game Maker's Toolkit here. In the information age that we live in, empires fall in a week. Actually, I'm pretty sure Lioness Media Group is sitting on the sidelines watching Unity sweat now because they had their turn. But it's truly something new every week. This one really just takes the cake. So the developers are leaving. Some are stuck because they're too far in development of their project. Speaking of which, let's talk about War of the Worlds. So War of the Worlds is made in Unity. It's very unfortunate for Raph and his team. And so I don't think they'll be switching because they're so far into production. They spent so much time into where they are now. I haven't talked to Raph directly about this, but I have talked to him about some other things that I will mention later in this video. But what's so unfortunate is all these people are trying to make a living, trying to live their dreams, and now they could potentially be punished for becoming successful. So I think the case is clear here that many people feel like they are affected by this. Some people are saying, oh, you have to hit the threshold, like so many developers won't hit that threshold. I think that's dreaming small. I think that's having a small mentality. And I think that's also not understanding how many indie developers are actually out there and hitting that threshold. Case in point, think War of the Worlds definitely could. In fact, if we look at their channel, they've passed 77K subscribers. Congrats to you guys. And their videos are blowing up. I mean, the last one they put out just hit 1.3 million views. I think they definitely have the potential to breach 200,000 downloads. So people are, of course, revolting, rightfully so, because this could easily be exploited either through pirating or using virtual machines to really just tank a certain development team you maybe just don't like. All of a sudden they're being slammed with thousands and hundreds of thousands of fees, and now they owe thousands of dollars to Unity. It's really unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen a company shoot themselves in the foot this hard, but here we are. It should be noted though that Unity just put out an update. They've been backpedaling on their crazy ideas. So here, September 17th, 7 p.m., so yesterday, we have heard you. And honestly, I don't think they have. Or if they have, I don't think they really care. We apologize for the confusion and the angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we'll be making changes to this policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. And I honestly have to applaud everyone for their honest and critical feedback, or else things like this don't happen. If you don't like something, always push back. But truthfully, the problem here with this apology is we will be making changes to the policy, when honestly everyone just wants the policy to go away. The trust is broken. Bargy here, out of respect for those at Unity who truly care, I'll bite my tongue. And that's the problem with this situation. It's not the developers at Unity. It's not the people working there. It's always the higher-ups making the calls. I'm sure people working there are pulling their hair out because they're watching something they worked on for years probably turn into something that they hate. Unity has effectively lived long enough to see itself become the villain. Now let's talk about the good that's coming out of this, and I think it will benefit all of us in the long run anyway. So there's two YouTubers I want to focus on, Bargy and Polymars, who I mentioned earlier. These guys have come together in response to this to do something that I think is really interesting and kind of sticking it to Unity. Again, rightfully so. They've come up with this jump ship jam. So it's a game jam, and it's specifically meant for people who are trying a new engine or new tool. So there's a term going around right now of Unity refugees, and what I'm seeing is a ton of people are transitioning to Godot. And now Godot has been on the rise for a few years now, and some have basically equated it to a Unity competitor or Unity replacement. It's not quite the same in how it functions, but it certainly seems to be the place of refuge that most indie developers are headed to. This is Juan, who is the creator of Godot, and he's been nothing but helpful, giving people threads on how to transition from Unity to Godot to help people understand the overall workflow of the engine. And oh my goodness, what a guy in contrast. And he's also telling people to like maybe pump the brakes a little and realize this isn't gonna be a one-to-one comparison. Godot is still growing. It's really Godot's time to shine, and it's like they're not 100% ready for it, but I think through this process, we're going to see an explosion with Godot and the quality and the amount of tutorials and the amount of resources available to it. And I think people just want to make games. People want to follow the good vibes. People don't want to be tainted by all this greed that's taking place. So that brings us back to this jump ship jam. I've seen comments in this community of people who are going to be doing this for the first time. Can I join if I was never on the other ship? We have some great memes here. This is great. I love it. But people are pretty much excited for this. They're seizing the opportunity to say, look, we're the gamers, we're the developers, we're going to take charge here, and we're going to make something beautiful in the process. So we've talked about the bad, we've talked about the good coming from this, and so I'm here to announce that I am also taking part in this jump ship jam. I'm very excited. I have been wanting to make games for most of my life. I honestly just needed this kick in the butt. I was a little nervous when I saw this. I've made a game in Game Maker back in college. I like Python, and with everything that's been going on with Unity and the sudden wave and rush, and I think what's going to be a miraculous and awesome explosion with the progress and development of Godot, I'm in. And Godot is actually the engine I used to make the other game just in the recent years following its tutorial, and I liked the process, I liked the engine, and as far as my scope goes, I think Godot is good enough. It can do 2D, it can do 3D, and if I truly outgrow it, Unreal is there. Truthfully, what I was planning on doing was starting game development on my own, and in a month from now, you would be getting this announcement that I would be starting to do devlogs on my own channels. So I've been covering indie games, and now I will be covering my own. I have 2 ideas, and I think my scope is okay. I think I'm gonna be able to pull it off. The top 30 games will be showcased live on stream. So let's see. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I'm sure it's gonna be a struggle, but I appreciate you guys and your support for my channel so far. Gonna need it going forward as I try to push through learning a new language and a new engine. So if I'm not posting a whole lot this upcoming month, it's because I'm gonna be really focused on trying to get something actually fun and playable and learning this engine as fast as I can. There has been so much that has happened this past week. Me just getting ready to start doing game design seriously and plan for how I wanted to tell you guys, and then this happening with Unity and me kind of being forced to just jump in and say, all right, this is how I plan to do it, but we're gonna do it now. I've also opened up my channels. I actually have 3 of them, so feel free to look at my channel here on Voidboi. I have Johnny of All Trades and Apostain. They are other channels about different topics that I also do that I have kept separate and I will keep separate. Like this one will be more of my life, my vlogging, and this is actually something I got to do while I was away on vacation. I've missed rock climbing. I like to go climb rocks out in the world. It's a lot of fun. And this was my first time back in 4 years, and I had a blast. It was really nice to switch it up and make something of a vlog. It's not a scripted video about gaming, and so there's many other things I like to do. So all my channels will now funnel into one Discord where everyone can hang out, and you can choose there what categories and what communities you want to follow and take part in discussing. Thank you guys again for the 4K, and now I have to go because I need to start learning Godot. I need to make sure my ideas can work, and I have 28 days and the seconds keep counting down. So if you're joining in this game jam, let me know below if this is something you're interested in doing yourself, how you feel about the Unity situation, if you are a Unity user, and where you're deciding to go now and why. And maybe one day I'll be covering your indie game as well. So now I must leave, and I must commit myself to learning this engine and getting ready for this game jam. Till the next video, guys, I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.